Welcome, dear Dharma brothers and sisters, to our Dharma series, Path to Awakening, Part 2 with Khenpo Tenzin. We will begin our teachings today with opening prayers in our Yellow Garchen Buddhist Institute prayer book, beginning on page 1. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms, if I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine, by offering them all may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping. completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The Supreme Mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Deva Dakini Ratna Mandala Pratishta Swaha. Namo. To the Guru, the utter purity of all appearance and existence, I offer all appearance and existence arisen as the primordial ground. I supplicate you, may the three realms be completely liberated. Please grant blessings to empty samsara from its depths. Lord, with 5 omniscient wisdoms, crown ornament, kind one with loving nature, precious protector of beings, heart of all Buddhas, inexpressible by words or thought, I supplicate you from the core of my mind. Bless me from within the state of dharmata. Bless me to realize this mind, primordially pure and unborn, as the unfathomable Dharmakaya. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles, and the teachings common to both according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Tamque to je son roi, Jenjamado do Jabonjamba, Sergelumbo da Brajivego, Jajabeja Dunguzans, Durjin Janjin de lo Naro da, Mabamala Jeja Gambo, Bamoda Javan Gomba, Gajolama Nanje da Joje. Nananda Zara Damjedo, Lama Lava Lawyer Jesus, Lazon Denjam Sungalawa, Denda Don Gender Begalazo, Regizava Lama Jejaguzo, the Jesulan, the Dogga Julan, Benda Dogga, the Modons of Jeja, Don Jajimon, the Parasinjel of the Zor. Good morning, dear Dharma friends. Today I will teach on the 10 non-virtues and the 10 virtues. You have encountered them many times. We are always in relation to them, even as we simply breathe in and out, we are relating to them. Sometimes they lead us, sometimes they push us, sometimes they pull us, and sometimes they block us. First, we should understand what is the meaning of non-virtue and virtue. Maybe you already have some understanding because they are used in many contexts. However, I will explain them as they are used in the Dharma. So non-virtue is the cause of suffering, and virtue is the cause of happiness. So they are always opposites. Virtues and non-virtues both are actions of the body, speech, and mind. There are many virtues and many non-virtues because our actions from life to life are vast. but they are all included in these 10 virtues and the 10 non-virtue. So let us go through them one by one. First, the 10 non-virtues. These are killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. These first three are the non-virtues of the body. Then lying, divisive speech, harsh words, frivolous speech are the four non-virtues of speech. Covetousness, malicious ill will, and wrong view are the three non-virtues of mind. Now that you have an overview of the 10 non-virtues, I will explain each one in detail. These 10 non-virtues are something that we need to familiarize ourselves with in order to abandon. They are like a virus, just as you need to know the composition of a virus. In order to make a vaccine, we have to understand the 10 non-virtues in depth in order to completely give them up. Among the 10 non-virtues, the most serious and directly harmful is the first, which is killing. Actually, with every steps of our feet, we destroy many lives. It is hard to avoid completely, but we can accumulate less of this non-virtue when we do retreat. For instance, because we stay inside much of the time. Just as monastics in Tibet do summer retreat in order to avoid these non-virtues. But this is something we cannot avoid completely until we stop moving entirely. Yet, while continually accumulate these non-virtue, at the same time, it can be overpowered by strong virtues that we will discuss later. Here we must never intentionally kill, for example, a human being and other life forms through anger, jealousy, attachment, and other afflictions. Killing through anger, like in a fight, is a very serious non-virtue, because with 90% certain the fruition will be rebuilt in hell. Killing out of jealousy will result in continuous rebirth in places where there is war and conflict. Killing through attachment, like for example in animal out of a desire for their meat, will result in their killing you in the next life. There are different degrees of this fruition. If you are reborn as an animal or human, they kill you only once. But if you are reborn in the hell realm, they will kill you again and again because the delusions of the hell realm are deeper than those of the other realms. Killing others has 10 bad effects. Some of them happen in this life. So if you experience any of these, you will know what you have done previously. If you know this, that's good. Your trust in karma will increase. First bad effect is that you will have many enemies. The second one is that you will carry a lot of resentment over inconsequential things. Third is that your enemies in this life will also be enemies in your next life. Fourth is you often suffer harm in your dreams. Fifth is that at this time you are, or later, you will be reborn as something secret and others are afraid of you. Sixth one is that you usually go to bed unhappy and wake up miserable. Seventh one is you often feel regret. Eighth one is rebirth in the lower realms. Ninth one is being reborn in a place where there are many diseases. 10th one is that if you are born as a human being, your life will be short. Actually, if you kill unintentionally, that is serious but less severe a karma than if you kill intentionally. Killing a human being intentionally, the worst form of killing. Especially if you kill someone after identifying them as your enemy, deciding to kill them and doing it. In short, killing is a serious non-virtue among the 10 non-virtues. Its fruition is that one's current life will be shortened and one will meet with many harmful conditions, and the next life reborn in the hell realm. But the 10 non virtues each have their opposite in 10 virtues. So, opposite of killing is protecting others' lives. Actually, anyone who has taken refuge vow in the three jewels has made the commitment to protect life. Making the commitment to protect lives has great benefit. For example, there is a story of a butcher who lived during the time of the noble Katayana. There was a butcher, he took a vow from the noble Katayana to uh, abstain from killing animals. He told the noble Katayana, I cannot give up killing animals during the day, but I will keep my vow during the night time. He continually practiced in this way, killing animals for his job during the day and uh, keeping his vow during the night. When he was reborn in his next life, he was very comfortable at the night and had everything he wanted. But during the day, he was constantly attacked by different animals. Some had sharp horns that wounded him, others had fangs that tore into his skin, his flesh. Others scared him, others scared him and chased him with their uh, claws out. So, if you were to keep that vow during the day, then the fruition would be having all that is excellent during the day. In addition, fruition of killing others' life and protecting others' life is exactly opposite. So we all would like to have long and happy life. So protect others' lives is crucial. Protecting others' life does not only result in having longevity just in this life, but also for many lives to come. But it is not only your life, your own life, it's your family and friends. So, how do we protect others' life? No harming, releasing and protecting lives are all slightly different, but their result is the same. No harm is, for example, seeing a group of ants while one is walking, but leaving them unharmed. Also, paying close attention so as not to step on any insects while one is walking is the practice of not doing harm. Then life release is buying or adopting animals that are going to be killed. Another form of life release is stopping conflicts that will result in killing. For instance, if you have an enemy and you are armed with a weapon and ready to fight, if you stop yourself, even though you know you will win, that is a great life release. Being vegetarian counts as life release because it contributes to fewer animals being killed. Protecting others' life is, for example, if you buy animals that are going to the uh, slaughterhouse. It is also compassionately caring for the sick and bringing them back to health. But the highest form of protecting life is sharing and saying prayers of the triple gem and making many, many others into compassionate people and bodhisattvas through your compassion and bodhicitta. Then this benefit will be very, very certain generation after generation. The second non virtue of the body is stealing. This means taking what is not yours, what you do not have a right to own, what has not been given to you. Either you take it secretly or outright rob. If you steal expensive things, you may face legal problems. But the law of karma is more subtle. So, even if you neglect to pay small fees for using public facilities while traveling because the attendants forget to charge you, may not seem like a problem, but the law of karma is unfailing, and you will face negative consequences. even if you don't pay to use a public toilet that requires a fee, then you are stealing. So should know that the law of karma is with you in the toilet as well as the temple. Wherever you go, the law of karma never leaves you alone. It follows you like your shadow. Sometimes the law of karma unfolds gently and compassionately taking care of you. But sometimes it is really wrathful and punishes you harshly. So let's review how it can punish. The karmic result of stealing to be reborn in the hell, hungry ghosts, and animal realm. If you are reborn in the hungry ghost realm as the result of stealing, you will experience the suffering of extreme hunger. Thirst and distraction. If you are reborn in the animal realm, then as a result of stealing, then you will starve and not be able to find any water. When we look at domestic animals that suffer in this way, we can say that they are controlled by the people who own them. So they have no freedom to find place with water and food. But then there are some wild animals who have freedom to move, but they spend their life in the very barren place where they almost starve. This is the result of having stolen. Now we come to human beings. First, let me describe how serious is the result of stealing in this life. This is very clear to observe. Someone who robs or steals can lose the rest of their life in prison. Not only they lose their life, they will be separated from their loved ones. If you personally have this experience, how much would you suffer? If some doesn't have or value their family, still to spend days and hours by themselves in the prison is great suffering. If a person doesn't steal or rob things that would cause them to go to prison, still if they get caught, then other people will call them a thief and exclude them socially. Nobody would trust them anymore. As to the result of having stolen in previous life, if you are born as a human, you may be born in a poor country. If you are born in wealthy country as the result of some good karma, you will be poor or a beggar. Even if you are somehow reborn into a rich family, you will end up poor. Even if your siblings are well off, if we pinpoint the cause, it is not other than stealing. But the strange thing is, if you are a wealthy person, you have everything you need, and yet you still engage in stealing. This shows you have a deep imprint of stealing from past lives. Another circumstance is one where you are a wealthy person who does not engage in stealing, but still all of your wealth is stolen or taken by robbers. These two is the karma fruition of having stolen in previous life. Then there are people who work extremely hard to accumulate wealth but are unsuccessful. They are like a bear gathering conch grass. Maybe you are not clear. Tibetan called rampa, but it's quite hard to find in the dictionary. So I using the beans. Actually, this is a small wild beans. So how to do is, as we say in Tibetan, the saying comes from the way bears try to gather wild beans under their armpit. They don't have a back there, right? But of course, the beans fall down. So bear thinks it is gathering many beans, but actually it has none. Not being able to gather wealth despite a great deal of effort is also a result of stealing. This shows karma never releases you from fruition of stealing. But karma is not always punishing. Sometimes it is a protector. So let us explore how karma protects us. For example, if you do not accumulate the karma of stealing, then no result will happen. So, number one, you will not commit in illegal act. So you will not suffer in a prison. Number two, people will trust you and ask you to watch over the precious things, which allows you to accumulate merit. If you buy some other karmic cause, you are reborn in the lower realms. For example, in the animal realm, you will be reborn somewhere where there is plenty of food and water, Also, your offspring will not be stolen by uh, predators. If through the ripening of your greed, you are reborn in the hungry ghost realm, you will be the beneficiary of offering dedication to you by practitioners. If you are reborn as a wealthy human being, no one will steal or rob you of your wealth, and you will be able to utilize it peacefully. Your wealth will become a cause of merit. For example, you generously make offerings to the three jewels and contribute to the building of schools, hospitals, homeless shelters, temples, and homes for the elderly, so on. In short, refraining from stealing prevents the suffering that stealing causes. Rather, the rapid fruition of not stealing is that you will be reborn in a rich country or rich family. As a result of the experience resembling the cause, you will get easily accomplish your wish for wealth and you will become rich. The dominant result of not stealing is that you will be reborn somewhere safe from thieves and robbers. As I mentioned earlier, there are three ways of stealing. The first is to take forcefully, which is called robbing. 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 Second is to steal by gently or secretly taking something. Third is to steal by cheating others. For example, using a skill that shows more weight than is actually placed on it. So the customer pays for more than they actually receive. Of all kinds of stealing from the guru or monastery are sinful because their things are offered on behalf of those who have passed away or some who have obstacles. That's why they wish to remove their suffering through gurus and monastic practice. So, the benefits of making the commitment not to steal other things helps us be mindful. Normally, we don't engage in stealing, but if somehow we want to take something that doesn't belong to us, we will remember our commitment not to steal, and this commitment suppresses our motivation to steal and then prevent our action, and then the result of suffering will not occur. In addition, we know what happens as a result of stealing and robbing. So it seems there is no need to explain more about it, but as we are Buddhists, we need to take care of karma. So we should be careful even when it comes to small issues. For example, stealing a little bit of toothpaste has a karmic result. In the Sutara, it says there are five benefits giving up stealing. Number one, you will become wealthy and your wealth will remain protected from robbers, thieves, fire, water, and it will not be wasted. Number two, many people will rejoice in your wealth. They will not be competitive. Number three, you will have no worry about losing your wealth because it will not be wasted. You will become famous through your wealth. This number four. Number five, you use your wealth to practice generosity with the result of becoming a Buddha in the future. Mm. Then the third non virtue of the body is sexual misconduct. According to the Buddha Dharma, there are three types. First is incest, which is sex with family members like your mother and sisters. Second is sex with people who are already committed to someone like a married women or men. Third kind of sexual misconduct has five types. Even if it is your wife, using her mouth or in anus, right? I quite not sure. Anus. Ins. Number two, sorry, having sex in the temple or stupa in front of a gathering of many people. Number three, on the days of Sobjong, which are full moon day and so on. And also having sex with someone who is pregnant. Pregnant. Number five, forcing sex on someone even if it is your spouse. Having sex five or more times in a row of your partner doesn't want to. All of these actions are included in the third non virtues of the body. It may seem as though if we are discussing in inappropriate topics, but if we know about this clearly, it is a great method for showing respect to each other. Since we are under the law of karma, we have rules that we need to follow. But here, rules are not to punish us, rather, they protect us. We cannot get away from the law of karma, but we can go against these rules. If we do, we will create suffering for ourselves. But this does not mean Dharma rules punish us. If you belong to a family, then avoiding the sexual misconduct will enable you to live harmlessly and peacefully together with your family. We often seek equality between men and women, for women to have equal rights. These rules are one way for men to respect their partners. If your if your wrathfully husband or wife tries to go against these rules, then actually you don't need to respond with the bad actions because the result of their bad karma will be reborn in lower realms. If someone who engages in sexual misconduct, the fruition of the repent result is to be reborn in the hunger ghost realm. The result resembling the cause has two fruitions. The first is if you accumulated bad karma in relation to your partner in previous life, then in this life you will have a bad partner. Or if you forcefully committed sexual misconduct in previous lives, then in this life you will still have this habit and it will continue to occur. The second is that if you find a bad partner in this life, you will not be able to separate from your bad partner. You will spend your life with that bad partner because of your previous karma. Previous karmas. For example, a bad partner could be someone who cheats you, cheats you, cheats on you, beats you, wastes your money, argues with you, doesn't care for children and family, creates lot of debt, right? Lot of debt, or it's addicted to harmful substances. All of these problems occur through commitment, sexual misconduct. If you have not committed sexual misconduct in previous lives, then there is no karma for these things to occur. If you did not commit sexual misconduct in the previous lives, then in this life you will find a good partner and partner who will take care of you, your children, children, your family, and also be faithful. So we can see there are many partners whose relations are harmonious, loving, and admirable. This does not occur without cause, but it comes through good conduct in their previous lives. Then also, dominant result of sexual misconduct, this is being reborn in a very bad place, like a dirty place. We see many insects in cesspools. They are reborn there because of their karmic result of sexual misconduct. In the Dharma, it says, someone who has too much desire will be reborn as an organism in the womb. Actually, sexual misconduct is stealing too, because others' wife or husband. So it is extra non-virtue. Why this action a non-virtue because the result is suffering. In the Buddha Sutara, it lists 10 faults of sexual misconduct. They are: number 1, husband and wife become enemies. Number 2, because of their hostility, non-virtues increase. Number 3, virtues decrease. Number 4, virtues decrease. That means they immediately decrease their merit and less enthusiasm to Dharma practice or accumulate merit. Number 4, one lose one's peace. Number 5, one cannot take care of one's child or spouse. Number 6, family and relatives will not take care of you. Number 7, your friends will be unhappy. Number 8, fighting often occurs. Number 9, one loses one's wealth. Number 10, next life, one is reborn in the hell realm. But these 10 faults are not unpreventable. They are not unpreventable. We all can prevent them. Not only prevent them, but we can bring about such a wonderful result in preventing them. If you are a lay person, then of course you can have a wife or husband. But if you do not engage in sexual misconduct, then your marriage will be happier. Am I saying just story or am I saying reality? If you are not married, but you learn from others what happened, what their good things, and something like that. You will not contract disease, so your children and spouse will be healthy, and you can maintain a peaceful and harmonious family. Actually, according to the Dharma, the drop or a man semen is an important base of mind. If you retain it, then you will have great vitality and therefore increased longevity. And also in Vajrayana Buddhism, when practicing the 4 joys, one's experience of bliss will be greater if one has retained one's semen. Now we come to the 4 non-virtues of speech. First is lying. There are 3 types of lies. First kind is an inconsequential lie, whether you receive any benefits or not. You just lie. The second kind is big lie, such as saying that practicing virtue has no benefit, and suffering is not the result of non-virtue, and the Buddha has no qualities, and Pure Land has no bliss. Pure Land is not stage of happiness. The third kind of lie is you declare that you have superpower which you don't have. Actually, lies come from your ignorance, attachment, anger, and jealousy, and so on. The lie which comes from ignorance is like that you just lie spontaneously, whether you have benefit or not. Because of your ignorance, you don't care if you lie. The lie which you tell there's no Buddha, karma, suffering, and pure land, so on. These lies comes from the mindset of wrong view, anger, attachment, and jealousy. Perhaps you tell these lies because you are uh, unhappy with some who practice. Perhaps you don't know the reality. The third kind of lie is a very grave non-virtue. The result of lying is very easy to understand. People will not trust you, and hearing many unpleasant things is the result of having lied in previous life. Previous lives. So here I did not make clear, but I often mentioned previous lives. So you don't think only before this life, including last year, including 10 years ago, or including thousands of years ago, because we were reborn in the samsara often, right? The second non-virtues of speech is divisive speech. Divisive speech is when you divide two friends or two people who are very close, or separate two dharma friends, or a husband and a wife, or students from their guru. There are two kinds of a divisive speech. Two kinds of divisive speech. The first is directly saying something like, oh, last year, or yesterday, or sometime ago, he talked about your bad attributes or bad characteristics, or he or she told you secret to other uh, people, or he or she talked about you really negatively, and something like that. And then the two people already had a good relationship, but through your speech they are divided, or the relationship weakens. Then perhaps they fight, or they break their samaya. Perhaps they lose their trust in each other. Your motive for such a speech is possibly being jealous of their relationship. But in any case, you have a very negative mind towards one or both of them. That's why this happens. The other kind of divisive speech is, for example, you are with your boyfriend, and then another woman comes up to you and says, oh, your boyfriend is so ugly. And then your view of your boyfriend possibly changes. Or for instance, you know a student of a particular guru, and you go to that student and say many faults of that guru. and the student stops following that guru, creating a division between Dharma friends or a guru and their disciples is a very serious non virtue. Because the guru is like a doctor and student is like someone who is blind. The guru can open the eyes of the blind, but you stopped that from happening, so the student will remain blind for the rest of their life. If you let open these eyes, the student will become guru and student will become Buddha. So that's where the divisive speech has how much damage have you done. All kinds of divisive speeches are a very strong non-virtue, but they often occur in our society. If you use divisive speech only once, and then slowly you become habituated, then at some point, when you want to control yourself and refrain from divisive speech, you can't. As I said, divisive speech doesn't just occur between Dharma friends or in Dharma communities. It happens even between different countries and everywhere. So, as Dharma practitioners, we need to be careful about this. As Dharma practitioners, our responsibility is not to divide countries, religions, and gurus and disciples, and also families, co-workers, and friends. Our responsibility is to create harmony. It often occurs that we use divisive speech casually, without intent. So, the best solution is to be mindful. Watch your mind, speech, and action. Finally, the result of a divisive speech is just in this life. If your friends noticed that you use divisive speech, you will lose your friends. They will lose their trust in you. Especially, I think that those who use divisive speech are unhappy people. That means their minds are full of jealousy. Actually, there is a saying, jealousy people have no time to be happy. Then beyond this life, the ripening result is to be reborn in hell. And the result resembling the cause is that if you are reborn a human, then you will often separated from your close friends, spiritual gurus, Dharma friends, or family, and so on through someone's divisive speech. Right now, we have the freedom, so that's why we have no reason to create this cause. Next non-virtue of speech is harsh words. It has three classifications. First, direct harsh words, which are spoken straight to a person. Second, harsh words mixed with joking, for example, calling some who can't hear well deaf, and someone who can't see well, bland. Third is harsh words spoken to your friends, family, or relatives in front of you. Anyhow, harsh words are no weapons, but they cut the other's heart. So, harsh words are a very serious way of destroying others' happiness. And harsh words are also the cause of people becoming enemies. And sometimes your nice words are harsh words. For example, if you say the quality of someone's enemy in in front of them, then it is harsh words to them. But if your motivation is to create harmony between them, then this is not harsh words. So be alert when you speak. So wisdom is very important, Dharma wisdom. Sometimes we have little difficulty understanding what are harsh words and what are not because of different cultures. For example, if you say you are so fat, right, to some Tibetan people, then this is not harsh words to them. But if you say this to someone here, then this is harsh word. If in general you speak politely, then harsh words will not uh, uh, exist, excite from your mouth. E- Exit. I think. I think speaking politely is also meditation because we use polite language, we have to concentrate on that. When we use ordinary words, seems they come naturally because of our habit, our habit, our habituation. Oh, it's a habituation. Thank you. For me, sometimes I can easily speak politely to Rinpoche or other like him. But when I speak with my friends, then I use ordinary language. But then I concentrate on it and try to use more polite language, polite language. So I think this is a good way to practice mindfulness. And sometimes people have two or more names. We should call them by their good name. If we do that, this has great benefit. Number one, it helps you to improve your mindfulness, as I mentioned. Number two, if these people are Buddha or Bodhisattvas, then calling them by their good name is like a reciting refugee prayer. Whoever hears your speak, you speak, their name will be close to liberation. If those who you call by their good names are ordinary people, then you will make them happy by using their good name. So it is a great generosity of giving happiness. So with your small actions, you can practice beautifully and it will have great benefit. On the other hand, if you use harsh words, then fully repent, result is to be reborn in the hell realm. The result which resembles the cause is that if you are reborn as human, then your faults flourish. It's happened, right? Then your faults flourish everywhere, and everybody knows of your faults. The, the dominant result of harsh world is to be reborn and remain in a very hot place with a very little water. But the result of a polite speech is the opposite. Your words, even if they are very simple, will have a very powerful effect. And they will flourish everywhere and become popular. So this comes from a karmic cause which you created in your previous life by using polite speech. So we should be careful when we create cause. If we do that, then we can benefit from results. Buddha said that people of wisdom, they take care when they create karmic cause, and then they will receive good result. Foolish people, sorry, just use that. Foolish people, they don't care when creating cause, but then they blame the unpleasant result when it happens. So foolish means actually the ignorant people, right? Ignorant, who has thick ignorance. So then, yeah. So we always try to practice polite speech for hearing good news and flourish our good words for the willful mother sentient beings. Let me drink tea. Otherwise, my tongue well dry. Oh, thank you. So now we come to frivolous speech or gossiping. It has three classifications. The first is deluded speech or deluded gossiping, which is like meaningless prayers that have no benefit for others or yourself. In this life or the next life. The second is common speech that has almost no benefit for others and yourself. It's just that we speak because we like to hear ourselves talk, or sometimes we talk about somebody's negative behavior or things like that. The third is teaching someone who is directly against or disrespectful of the Dharma. This person will never accept what we teach, but still we teach them. Then this also becomes frivolous speech to that person. Often when we engage in practice, we keep silence. For example, when we are in retreat not only means physical retreat. Retreat means mind, speech, and body together are in retreat. How we keep our minds in retreat is by being mindful. Perhaps practicing meditation. How we keep our body in retreat, everybody knows. We do it. Then retreat of speech means keeping silent. Silence has such a great benefit benefits. If you keep silence, then all four non-virtues of speech, including all three kinds of frivolous speech, are automatically prevented. Prevented. Gossiping or frivolous speech comes from a habit of being talkative. We think, oh, there's no non virtue. We are just talking, enjoy ourselves. We think like that, but perhaps this gossiping comes from ignorance. Ignorance. If we are in ignorance, then the result of ignorance is rebirth in the animal realm. Perhaps our frivolous speech comes from anger, then the result is hell. As everybody knows, or perhaps it comes from pride. Try to show off one's knowledge or one's assets. Assets. Thank you. Still, this creates a samsaric cause. Perhaps your gossiping comes from your jealousy, so then you know the result of that, where you where you will be reborn. The result of jealousy is the demigod realm. So being silent is the best way to prevent gossiping or frivolous speech. So you won't be reborn in demigod realm. And so on. Not just in future lives, but in this life, if you give rise to too much meaningless speech, then people will not value or respect your speech. Usually, everybody tries to be famous, everybody tries to be attractive in other people's minds. But then what we do is the opposite of that. It seems that we create the cause for losing others' trust. Otherwise, respect. Others' respect. It happens often in this degeneration time through speech, through action, and lots of other ways. So, we shouldn't say that we can engage in gossip or frivolous speech. That is that it is okay. Whether it's okay or not depends on depends on the law of karma. When we speak, even if we do not specifically teach a dharma text, when we speak compassionately or with bodhicitta, or we speak virtuously, then this does not become the non-virtue of gossip or frivolous speech. It becomes the Buddha's teaching. So you are a sangha, we are a sangha, and our activities are Buddha's Nemanikaya activities. So these activities have great benefit. I think that is better than being silent. Silence is for preventing these non virtues that I have discussed. But if you speak the Dharma with compassion and bodhicitta, then this creates merit. It becomes the cause of increasing your merit. And it becomes of great benefit to others and yourself. So you can speak, you can talk through bodhicitta, compassion, and wisdom, Dharma wisdom. then each and every one of your sentence has great benefit. Now we have covered the non-virtues of body and speech. Next are the non-virtues of mind. Okay. Mm, Next are non-virtues of mind. Covetousness is the first non-virtue of the mind. Covetousness means grasping or attachment towards other things. There are three kinds of covetousness. The first is that you are attached to other things and your wish is to have them. Second is that you are attached to your own things. You think, oh, I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I have a nice phone, or so on. And then the third is to things that do not belong to you nor to others. You are attached and wish to have them. These things like what is called as a buried, bur- buried, right? Buried, I think. B-U-R, burrowed, treasure, or stars in the sky, the lottery. In any case, covetousness is the cause of all non-virtue. For example, when you see someone else's nice car and then you covet that, which means you think, oh, if only I had that. And then slowly your covetousness increases, which means you try to get the car, but you don't want to pay for it. That's why perhaps you will lie to get the car. That is how covetousness becomes the cause of the non-virtue of speech. Perhaps you will steal the car, so then your covetousness becomes the cause of non-virtue of the body. And then you think you must have it, this nice car or something similar, and then your ego or grasping gets stronger and stronger because of this covetousness. So covetousness is a very strong support for your grasping. Usually we have very unshakable grasping because of covetousness. When we have covetousness, then we have greed. So we cannot dedicate our things and practice generosity. When we have covetousness, then we are jealous because we cannot rejoice in others' wealth. When we see someone's nice car, then we don't think, oh, they have a nice car. This is their merit. I rejoice it. This inspiration cannot arise in our minds because of our covetousness. So covetousness is a very serious cause of all of our non-virtues. When we have covetousness, then we cannot offer our things to the rituals because we have attachment to these things. Rejoicing is the opposite of covetousness, actually. Due to our covetousness, jealousy arises in our minds. When we see someone else's nice car, then we are unhappy because we don't have that. If other people have a nice car or a nice job or nice things, then we are unhappy. So then it becomes a cause of harming others. Driven by our covetousness, we try to it called acquire others' things, but we are unable to get them. That's why we would like to destroy or harm these things or others' lives or something like that. So mm, covetousness is very serious. As Dharma practitioners, we must always be mindful and watch our minds. Many practitioners ignore their own covetousness. Many practitioners often do many visualizations and some aspects to have higher views, but they ignore small instance of covetousness. Then this covetousness becomes like a river that continually flows, right? Flows through their mind, and these grow unnoticed until covetousness controls their mind. So covetousness is also the cause of unhappiness. Because whenever we see others' good things like a nice house or wealth or even a nice job, or even if someone is doing something very nice, for example, somebody helps others, then still we are jealous of that because of covetousness. So we should practice, rejoice to ensure that covetousness has no more space to arise. We often should practice rejoicing, admiring when we see something beautiful in nature, like a wildflowers. We can offer them through our minds to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and Yidam deities, and gurus, and so on. So for one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, we practice rejoicing and offering in this way, then slowly our minds become habituated to practicing this. And then covetousness has no way to come in our minds. Then we are happy. Happiness is not such that we can be completely happy the whole day. But we can seek happiness moment by moment, like turning pages. If the first page is not pleasant, then we turn the page and we can find happiness on the next page. This is a metaphor for how we can seek happiness in each and every next moment. But first, we have to acknowledge the faults of non virtue like covetousness. Otherwise, we don't have an interest in seeking happiness, and we don't have an interest in improving our virtuousness. So, if we have accumulated the non virtue of covetousness, these will result in being reborn in the hungry ghost. Wrong? This is the fully repent result. And the result resembling the cause is that if you are reborn as a human being, you will have a habit, a very strong desire or attachment. This means you will be a covetous. You will be a covetous person, and the dominant result is that you will be reborn in an unhealthy place. These are the result, the fruitions for the next life. But in this life, as I already mentioned, you will be unhappy if you continuously follow your covetousness. You will be constantly uh, dissatisfied with what you have. You will always look at what others have, and you cannot rejoice. You will always have attachment or grasping towards them. So covetousness silently, imperceptibly works in our minds. So we must remove it with mindfulness as precisely as threading a needle. Threading a needle, right? The second non-virtue of mind is malicious thoughts. There are three kinds of malicious thoughts, which are those related to anger, those related to jealousy, and those related to resentment. The first kind of malicious thoughts leads to fighting with others and possibly wanting to kill them. The second kind of malicious thought comes from jealousy, and due to being jealousy, one wishes to destroy others' belongings. If there are two people of equal status, right? Status, then the jealous one will worry about the other one rising above them. For instance, becoming more rich or gaining higher status uh, in terms of education, fame, popularity, and power. In any case, they think other person will become much better than them. And so, for that reason, they are unhappy. That's why malicious thoughts arise in their mind and they would like to harm others or destroy others' property. Then the third kind of malicious thoughts comes from resentment. In this case, you think or you remember, oh, last year or decades ago or last month, last week, or whenever it was someone hurt me. Then malicious thoughts arise in your mind. These thoughts come from resentment, and because of them, you would like to get revenge. So actually, whether malicious thoughts are sealed with anger, jealousy, and resentment, they are poisonous. We are Dharma practitioners, so number one, we need to purify malicious malicious thoughts. Malicious thoughts are totally in conflict with the Dharma practice. totally the opposite of the bodhicitta. If you have malicious thought, then it's quite hard to trust you have a real bodhicitta or not, right? Then malicious thought is total opposite of compassion, loving kindness. So watch your malicious thoughts because harsh words come from there, harmful actions come from there. I have lots of examples, but we don't have time now. So I go a little fastly. And all the non-virtues are related to it. As a result of malicious thoughts, we cannot be patient with others. These thoughts also make oneself unhappy. So, in short, if you have malicious thoughts, then everything can become a source of harm to others. Even though you have knowledge and education, the power of your malicious thoughts will cause you to harm others. Because you will use your talents to harm others. Because malicious thoughts are related to anger. When you are angry at someone for some reason, then suddenly you will use your qualities and property to harm others. If you have a book in your hand, actually a book is for reading, not for harming others physically. But when your malicious thought arises from anger, and actually anger is a malicious thought too, then suddenly you throw the book at someone. Like that, then the malicious thought that comes from resentment makes it very hard for you to give rise to compassion and bodhicitta. You always remember the negative things that people have done and you keep it in your mind with resentment. Then, when you have the chance to hurt the object of your resentment, you do it, pushed by your resentment. Then, the malicious thought that comes from jealousy. Jealousy is also not related to other people's faults, it is only related to your mind. You are unhappy when you see other people's good qualities and belongings. Then you don't try to gain these good things for yourself. The difference is here, okay? Malicious thought and covetousness. It seems very similar, but if you comes very detailed, then you will figure out. Sometimes covetousness is related to jealous. If you have covetousness, then when you see someone's good things, you want have them. You want have them. You want to have them, but when malicious thoughts arise and you see other good attributes and possessions, you don't want to have them for yourself. Instead, you want to destroy them. Because of this jealousy, sealed, right? Sealed. Sealed. Seal. With a malicious mind. In short, malicious thoughts are the, antithesis, 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 A N T A N I A N T I T H E I S S I S, yeah, antithesis, antithesis of Dharma practice. And especially since you have received the refuge vow, you should give up malicious thoughts. Because when you take the refuge vow of Dharma, then you make a commitment: I will not harm others directly or indirectly. That's why malicious thoughts are cause of the all kinds of harm: harsh words, harmful actions, harmful thoughts. So, since you have malicious thoughts, you try to harm others through whatever objects are in your hands or in your minds, mind. Since you have malicious thoughts, you feel what is compelled, compelled to use harsh words in whatever sentences that come on your tongue. And you always wanted to use bad language. And since you have malicious thoughts, your motivation is always to try to harm others. Even if you are just walking on the road and you see some birds, deer, or some other animals, instead of saying mantra for them, you suddenly pick up some stone and a piece of wood and you throw it at them automatically. Sometimes it's pretty hard to notice when malicious thoughts arise, but if you are mindful of your actions, then will give you a clue, right? But the best way to understand when you give rise to negative thoughts is to be mindful. Really, mindfulness is the best meditation and your best teacher and best guide, right? Then the result of malicious thought, the full ripening result is that you will be reborn in the hell realm, and the result resembling the cause is that if you are reborn as a human being, then you will be a very angry person. And then the dominant result is that all of your food will taste bad. We cook different food, but some people say, "Oh, this food is no good. I don't that food." Uh, they have karma. Actually, we don't think about it deeply. Otherwise, if we think carefully, then we have no reason to be angry at that person. We don't want to think, oh, this person is so funny. He says yogurt is no good, vegetables are no good, fruits are no good. Because if we think again, we see the reason this person has such a problems with food is related to their malicious thoughts in a previous life. So that person becomes an object of compassion. To summarize, malicious thoughts are the opposite of compassion, bodhicitta, loving kindness. If we practice these, then we will be reborn in the opposite conditions of the hell realm and not as an angry person, and we will get delicious food. Any kind of food will taste delicious and everything will be wonderful. If we have this perception, our Mother Earth is a second pure land. So not just then we do not need a poor practice. We already here, right? So we don't ask poor to do someone, some practitioners. So not just in our next birth, uh, but also in this life, wherever we go, wherever we stay, whoever goes with us, we are happy. They are happy. Our minds are always filled with happiness. So, we don't need to create special happiness because we can always be happy with our food, with our friends, with our environment, and with our lives. Finally, final non-virtue of mind is wrong view. There are three kinds of wrong view. First is a wrong view of karma, which means believing that if you accumulate virtue, it will not result in happiness. And if you accumulate non virtue, the result will not be positive. Second is a wrong view of the truth, specifically the truth of the path. This means that you don't believe that Dharma practice, meditation, concentration, and then purifying non virtues, emotional defilements, and cognitive obscurations will result in cessation. Actually, we say cessation is the result of the path, but someone who has wrong view towards the truth, they will say that the truth of the path and the truth of cessation are not cause and result. And if you practice meditation on the path, there is no realization, and that through practicing the path and cessation, you will not realize the Dharmakaya, and you cannot reach the pure lines, and so on. The third wrong view is wrong view towards the three jewels. We say there are three jewels, which are the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha taught us the Dharma, and so the Dharma is our practice. The Sangha is our friend who shows us how to practice it. The three jewels protect us in this life and in future lives. But then someone who has a wrong view of them, they says, "Oh, there's no jewels. Even if there were, they wouldn't protect us." So this is the third type of wrong view. Wrong view sometimes arises in our minds due to different practices. I mean, if you practice a method that does not believe in the three jewels or in cessation and path and cause and effect, you study this system, then you also become a practitioner of wrong view. A wrong view also arises naturally without study. Actually, wrong views can arise pretty easily, so we should be careful. We often say we should study the Dharma. The main reason is when you understand the meaning of Dharma and you understand the result of Dharma and you understand the benefit of Dharma, then when someone says there is no Dharma, there is no benefit from Dharma, there is no next life, there is no Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, your mind will not be changed or swayed by what they say, because you have committed to know the truth through your study of the Dharma. And as a result, you are a Buddhist very purely and certainly. The Dharma is very certain in your mind. If you just blindly have faith, if you don't study the Dharma well, then someone who skillfully says there is no karma will quickly convince you. So you will easily change your mind. Or if someone displays some kind of miracle that seems to show that there is no karma, then you will easily be convinced. Because your trust in karma is not certain, since you did not learn about it thoroughly. I don't mean that everyone who does not study the Dharma will they all will become practitioner with wrong views. I just mean that it is very possible, very easy to change their mind. Or as another example, somebody says if you pray and meditate and practice, there is no benefit because this year the coronavirus occurred and you pray aloud, you meditate aloud, but there's no benefit. Still people are getting sick and dying from it. If people say this, or sometimes you may possibly think like that, like this. This is wrong view. If you have learned the Dharma, then you understand the result of Dharma, how Dharma works. If you pray to remove coronavirus and you cannot suddenly remove the coronavirus, still it is possible that because of the power of your prayer, less people will get it. Perhaps if you did not pray, possibly more than the current number of people would get the coronavirus. Even if you cannot control the coronavirus directly through your prayers, your prayer will help you or others trust more deeply in karma. So, regardless, through your practice and prayers, will come to understand the karmic system. And if you comprehend the karmic system, then wrong view will not arise for you. It is often taught that after this life, we could be reborn Buddha Amitabha's pure line easily. We only need to recite the prayer to be reborn there with faith and devotion. But in this prayer, it says that someone who has wrong view cannot be reborn the pure line of Amitabha Buddha. So wrong view is a very serious non-virtue. Wrong view is directly uh, in conflict with believing in cause and effect or karma. If you don't believe in cause and effect, and then you don't practice on them according to it, this means you don't care about the next life. And if one or two people have this kind of wrong view, it's okay. They can't do too much damage in this world. Of course, their karmic result will not be good in the next life. But in this world, there are 7 billion people. If many of them don't believe in cause and effect, this is very dangerous. Because they will use their power in selfish ways. They will use their power only for this life. But if they use their power in this life for positive activities, then it's good. But sometimes it's quite possible they use it negatively. Specifically, they don't care about others' lives. Up to now, we have discussed nine other non-virtues. All of these are connected to cause and effect. So those who don't trust cause and effect, and by those who don't trust cause and effect, I mean those who have wrong view. Because of their wrong view, they don't care about the next life. They don't believe in hell. They don't believe in the hunger ghost realm. They don't believe in the suffering of animal realms. They don't believe the suffering of other realms. That's where they use their power only for themselves in this life. They cannot think of others. I don't mean everybody needs to become Buddhist, but to trust karma is very essential. It helps one a lot. Trust in karma through understanding karmic interdependence could prevent much suffering for oneself. So if you want to be reborn a pure light next life, you should not practice wrong view in this life. If you want to be good person, then don't practice wrong view. And if you want to become enlightened in this life or another life, then you absolutely should not practice wrong view. In the Dharma, it says among the 10 non-virtues, wrong view is extremely serious. So we must keep right view. Right view is that one that relative level we trust karma. We trust the path and cessation. We trust the three jewels. Then on the ultimate level, we trust non-duality and the Dharmakaya. So then we will achieve the Dharmakaya, the fully repent fruition of holding wrong views is to be reborn in the animal realm. The result resembling the cause is that if one is reborn in the human realm, one has a lot of ignorance. Then the dominant result for someone who holds wrong view is they will be born in a place where nothing grows, no crops, no seeds of any plants, which means the place is barren like a desert. But those who practice right view, they will reborn in the pure lines. If they practice well, and if not, and other, if not, they will be reborn as a human being who has Dharma wisdom and other good wisdoms. Their wisdom will greatly benefit others. They will be reborn in a place with abundant natural fruits, healthy fruits, nice place, a nice environment. And they will have good companions who also have right view. Here I have been speaking about the results in future lives, but these results can come to fruition in this life. For example, people often move from a dangerous place to safer place and find nice friends and become a wonderful practitioner. So as you can see, holding right view is very beneficial. So this brings us to the end of our discussion of the 10 non-virtues and 10 virtues. Perhaps you find this pretty easy, but sometimes this knowing the names is pretty easy, but practicing them properly in our activities in daily life is not as easy. That's why it is very important to understand the 10 non-virtues and 10 virtues in detail. And more important is that after we have understand them, to put our understanding into practice. That's why after we have understood them, well, we need to practice them as much as possible. Okay, thank you very much, all of Dharma listeners. And also, I'm sorry because it's 5 more minutes over already. So I will do short dedication, but you make you generate great bodhicitta and compassion. Chancho senjo renpo je ma je pa nan je je pa nyan pa me pa yang gong ne gong de be war shu.
May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.